We are live. Well, hello there.
Hello there.
Good evening, my friends. I am Daniel.
And I'm Raquel.
And this is Button English BE.
Podclass.
Oh, yeah. There's the button right there to prove me right. How you guys doing?
All right, so we're here, ready to speak 100% in English about a topic that is near and dear to everyone's heart.
It's true. You can't live without it.
Food! Yum!
I'm a little hungry myself, to be honest. This is going to be a painful podcast.
Wow, we're gonna work up an appetite. That's a good phrase.
Work up an appetite. Nice one. All right. What does it mean, Raquel, to work up an appetite?
So we use this expression when you have something that's very challenging to do, especially if it's physical in some way. So a strenuous workout or something like that. And you know that you're going to be hungry afterwards. So you say, okay, I'm going to work up an appetite. I'm going to use all my energy, knowing that afterwards I'm going to treat myself to some delicious food because I'm going to be hungry. So work up an appetite.
That's a good one. All right, so today we're going to spend a little bit of time comparing food from America and food from Brazil, and we chose to do it in the following way. She is going to talk about some surprises, good and bad, that she had with Brazilian food, and I'm going to do the same with American food. And I think you guys are going to have fun because we have quite a few good stories here.
Yeah. We have an interesting collection of stories. Yeah, so basically we're going to talk about our first impressions, right? We may mention if those impressions changed over time, but like the first time we tried one type of iconic food in either culture and how that experience was, good or bad, and what the impression was.
All right.
Well, why don't you start, right? Brazilians always feel like they know all the iconic foods in America intimately. So why don't you start with your first food surprise?
Okay. Well, that's going to have to be... Well, first of all, I have to confess to something that I am a very big fan of. Although I don't consume it anymore. I don't drink it anymore. But I'm a huge fan of Coca-Cola. Just good, plain old Coke. And I've had it all my life. And when I went to the States for the first time, this was 2012, I thought, hey, I am going to go to the birthplace of Coca-Cola. So I'm going to have a lot of it and, buy Coca-Cola products and come back home, looking like a sponsored athlete or something. Funny thing is, the first taste I had of Coke was at a McDonald's in New York, and I hated it. But it was like one of those, excuse me, it was one of those machines. So I figured, you know what, this happens in Brazil too, like the machine's not fine-tuned, whatever. So I didn't pay much attention. Next time I did it, I was at a sports bar with a Belgian friend that I had made, and I ordered Cuba Libre, right? Which takes Coke. And the drink tasted horrible. But I knew the other ingredients. Like the rum was of good quality, the lime was good. So I just stopped at a supermarket and I bought a can of Coke and I took it home. And I had it. And it was awful. Horrible. Traumatizingly bad. And I'm like, wait a minute. Am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? And a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people don't pay close attention to Coke because it's just soda, so they don't care. I don't think it's just soda. I really like it. I really, really like it. It's one of the only sodas that I actually used to drink regularly. And then this one explained it to me that Coca-Cola in the States is not sweetened with real sugar, with sugar cane sugar directly from the plant. It's sweetened with corn syrup, is it?
High fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup. That is why it tastes like deodorant.
It's just very sweet. It's like that uber sweet taste.
Yeah. It's like tastes like you put a couple of drops of artificial sweetener in it. It's really, really bad. For a fan of Coca-Cola, yeah, you want to stick with the Brazilian one or with the Mexican one, which apparently is also sweetened with sugar. So anyway, Coca-Cola in the U.S. sucks. What are you going to do? All right.
So that was one surprise for you, right?
What about you?
Well, I have to start with one of the most iconic foods from here in Brazil, which is pão de queijo, right? How can you talk about Brazilian food and not talk about this, right?
Indeed.
It is pretty much the perfect snack food, really.
Sure.
But my story is also very interesting and perhaps surprising because my first experience with pão de queijo was not in Brazil. Mm-hmm. I first tried pão de queijo in the U.S., in New York. I was working an event, and it was a very complex event, and there were caterers and etc. And I made friends with this woman, Elizabeth, from the catering staff, and she was Brazilian, and so we were talking all the time. And one day after the event, she said, "Oh, I'm gonna take all the leftovers of the cheese from the event, and I'm gonna make pão de queijo, and I'm gonna bring it tomorrow for you to try." So the next day she came in with pão de queijo that she had made, and it was delicious. And that was my first experience with pão de queijo. So that's a good way to start. So even though I was in the States, it was, it was still authentic, and it was so good that, like, the next time that I had one from like any old place, the ones that aren't necessarily really top notch, I was kind of like, really? So it was a good experience.
I'm glad, because it could really have ruined it for you.
True.
Right? We've had plenty of horrible pão de queijo on the road. We travel a lot. Mm-hmm. And if you taste it once or twice and it's really not good, first impressions, right? So yeah, lucky you.
Lucky me. I felt very lucky. She was a sweetheart and I loved her.
All right. Well, to make up for my bad Coca-Cola story, I discovered one of the beverages that is probably my favorite beverage in the whole world, which is it's a type of tea. It's bottled. It has a bunch of crap in it. It's not very healthy, right? It's not awful, but it's not organic and super healthy.
I'm sure they have a line like that now, but yeah. They have lots of flavors too, so it's not like a one thing.
Yeah. But anyway, when I was in New York and I went to a restaurant for the first time I think it was with the class, right? With the Celta class, and you were with me?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. I ordered it for the first time when we met, or during that course, during that month of January.
Did I mention it to you?
You probably did, yeah.
I was a fan.
I still am. It's called Snapple. It's like the word apple with an S before it, and it's great. I mean, I love the lime flavored one. It's basically like black tea with some extra ingredients, and then whatever fruit or flavor it has on the label, that's the second major flavor. So it's black tea plus something else plus a bunch of other things. So my favorite is lime Snapple, but I also happen to love strawberry kiwi Snapple. It's like bright pink, and it's
yeah. That one I don't think has tea.
No, it's just it's just like a fruit punch.
Yeah, they have some other things. Way back when they had a green white tea line. I don't know if that still exists, but the classic ones are the black tea, and then there are a couple of like fruit punchy flavors, and those are the ones you see everywhere.
And I'm a big fan of mate, right? I drink chimarrão nearly every day. And I like chá mate as well from Brazil. So it was a very nice surprise. And it's probably, I like it better than any other iced tea that I have ever tasted here or elsewhere. Like better than Lipton, better than anything. Snapple's amazing.
I agree. I like Snapple. Snapple's good.
True. What about you? What's your next?
Well, okay. So the next thing isn't isn't exclusively Brazilian, but it's much more common here than it is in the States. And so I had it for the first time here in Brazil, and that is quail eggs.
That's true, okay. Quail eggs.
Yeah.
Ovos de codorna.
Yeah. Quail eggs, they're very common here. People, you just get them and it's no big deal. Like, it's very ubiquitous.
I was going to use that word. Ubiquitous.
Why don't you take that word? Ubiquitous. How would you describe that?
Yeah, ubiquitous is something that is found everywhere. I mean, I think maybe the best example for that worldwide is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is ubiquitous. You can find it everywhere.
Yeah.
Ubiquitous.
Okay. So, in the States, it's a little bit more, I don't know, it's rare and people use it for gourmet, fancy things and stuff. So I never had it. Not fancy. Okay. But anyway, so I was here, and then you have the jars, right, where they're pickled.
Sort of pickled, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of pickled. So I had it.
Loved them.
And this story is unfortunate because my first tasting of quail eggs, I really liked them. I do like them. I like the taste.
Yeah.
The problem I've discovered that has been confirmed various times over the years, because sometimes I'm like, is it really true? Maybe it was just, and then I try again, is that I have some kind of allergy or something, some kind of reaction to quail eggs, and I get viciously sick every single time I eat anything that has quail egg in some form involved, which is unfortunate. But so so now it's like completely ruined for me. Now I like see them and I'm like, oh gosh, no.
That might have something to do with the fact that you felt sick the first time, right? Apparently, some people have told me that their body starts rejecting food that it never rejected before once they had a really bad food poisoning with that food. My sister's like this with shrimp. She ate shrimp all her life, not a problem. Then she ate one bad batch of shrimp. From that day on, forget it. She comes near shrimp and she gets sick.
I don't know, because I think the first time I didn't get so sick.
No, it's not the first time, but if you have one bad experience and you get poisoned, it could be that.
I don't know.
Anyway, what a shame.
I tried several times. I was always very excited, and it never worked out. So now I just have to give up and be sad about it.
What are you going to do? All right, so what am I?
Yes.
If you ever see yourself at a buffet and you look and you see beans,
Describe accurately.
Don't put them over your rice thinking you're going to have a legitimately Brazilian experience the way you were used to. In most cases, they are called baked beans, and they are predominantly sweet. So your brain is going to, go crazy, and you're going to be very frustrated and a little disgusted because you're not expecting your beans to be sweet. But anyway, it takes a little bit of getting used to. I kind of like them. I don't love them because, being Brazilian, I like my beans salted. But the first time I ever tried, I went for it. I just, I got some rice. I put beans on top of it. And when I took the first bite, I was really surprised and really disappointed and a little disgusted, a little grossed out. I was like...
Grossed out. That's a good synonym.
It's true.
Grossed out. Grossed out is the same as disgusted, or what's another way to explain that in case they don't know disgusted?
Disgusted, grossed out, put off.
Oh, now you're just complicating things for them.
That's true. Sorry. Anyway, but this is a lot more common for them to have canned beans, right? Canned goods in general, right? We don't have as many options here. We do have canned beans here, but they still are on the salted side. We don't find baked beans the way we find in the U.S.
Yeah, so to be clear, to be fair, okay, that's not exclusive. It is more of part of the southern cuisine of the United States, though they are available everywhere and everyone kind of knows them. They are called baked beans. They are brown, pink in color and have a broth around them. They usually are baked or slow cooked with bacon and some kind of honey or sweetener. Obviously, industrialized ones are going to be, cheaper and taste cheaper too. But people do know beans as regular beans. They do use them in cooking without them being sweet, right? So to clarify that cultural point. But yes, baked beans are a thing. Yes, they're frequently sweet. And it is part of a specific cuisine of the United States. So it is very possible that you might come across that. Being fair.
Being fair. Your turn. Bean. Huh? Can't help it.
All right. My next experience is with an iconic dish, Brazilian dish, called moqueca.
That's a good one.
Oh, it's so good.
It's from Espírito Santo originally, I think.
Right. Except I didn't have it here in Brazil either. Don't worry. Soon, the quail's eggs I had in Brazil, see? So, But I have lots of other stories from here, too. It's just that I was very lucky. What can I say? I lived in New York. There were lots of Brazilian people. And I had a friend who was Brazilian, and he was in town doing a show with a bunch of other people from all different countries. There was another friend of mine who's from France, and another one who's American, but he was from Texas. Anyway, so the big group of us, we went out to eat, and he picked this place in Brooklyn. I believe Miss Favela was in the name of the joint. Anyway, and it was this lovely Brazilian woman who owned it. It was very small, and she cooked everything. And I looked at the menu, and I read the description of moqueca, and he said, "Oh yeah, no, that's really great." And I said, "All right, I'm gonna try this because this is something that I've never had." And it was amazing. It was so good. It was good.
You like it so much that you cook it rather often, right? Every time we can get our hands on fish, chances are we're gonna have moqueca.
Let's be honest, mine will never be as great, but yeah, I do. I like it a lot. I thought it was fantastic, and I try to replicate it, even if only, partially, as often as I can, because what a fantastic dish! Bravo, Espírito Santo.
Yeah. Did you have moqueca with our friends, Kleber and Giovanna? Did you ever have that? Because she makes a mean one. She's from Victoria.
I've heard stories. You tell stories, and I
know. We gotta
green with envy.
We gotta call them up. Green with envy, huh? Why don't you explain that one? What is that?
Well, I think this is a concept that is pretty universal, right? When we talk about when you want something that somebody else has. So we call that, you're jealous, or a stronger version is envy, right? Envious. And the color associated with this is green, right? So you turn green with this desire to have what the other person has had or currently has.
I want to say the color for us is purple.
Is purple? Okay. What do I know? I don't know.
Roxo de inveja. I don't know. Yeah.
Ah, really? Cool. All right. Well, we use green. So go figure. So we use green to describe this. But yeah, so envy is just when you really, really want something. And every time it was so amazing. And the shrimp came from Victoria and her mother sent it to her. I'm just like, stop talking and feed me already.
Indeed. All right. So let me share with you an experience that I had, which was like I ate something that I had all my life, but it felt like I was having it for the first time.
I brought you this one, right?
Wait, no.
No?
No, that one was the first one. That one was the first time ever.
Yeah, first time ever.
Yeah, but the one I'm going to talk about, I ate all my life here in Brazil because
Okay.
it's, they can be found anywhere and everywhere in all seasons. But I was never a big fan. I was like, whatever. So I'm in New York. It's high winter. I'm loving it because I love the cold. I'm walking around and I stumble across this little fair, this little street market going on. Everybody is like, with coats, everybody bundled up. And there's this little stand with a bunch of very good looking apples. And they look like, I've never seen apples like that. They were considerably larger than the ones that we get to see here in Brazil. And they looked amazing. And the little short lady said, "You're going to want to try one of those." And I went for it. I think I bought 3 or 4. And they were organic. And they were of a variety called Pink Ladies, which is now my favorite apple. I actually have a couple here. Maybe while you talk about yours, I'm going to go get one. Anyway,
You can't wait until we're finished.
I ate it. It snapped just right, It
That's a good
came
one.
apart just right. That little snapping sound that it makes when you take the first bite, it was beautiful. Juice running over your mouth. It was the perfect balance between sweet and tart. Oh my God, I could have had 10 of those. It was incredible. It was then that I discovered that apples grow best in cold weather. And that's why Brazil sucks for apples. Okay, so yeah, it changed my life. I ended up buying some apple cider from that woman and some other products, and they were all amazing.
No. In the autumn, apple season is magical in New York. I miss it. That's one thing I miss. But okay, let's counterbalance, So the apples here, not so great usually. Every once in a while, you can, if you get one from a colder region up in the mountains, you can find some decent ones, right? We've been getting better and better sources for that, but it's not all year round. It's just every once in a while, right? But on the other hand, there are lots of fruits here in Brazil that are much better than in the States for the opposite reason, because they grow better in warmer climates. One of them is bananas.
Yes.
I thought I had bananas before I came to Brazil. And then I started eating bananas here. And I'll be honest, at first I noticed that it was a really good banana, but I didn't really notice that huge of a difference because, right, banana flavor is sort of like it's banana. The flavor doesn't change so much. Like an apple can be some of them are sweet and then some of them are really tart. You can tell a really big difference. But a banana, it always has a little banana-ness to it. Mm-hmm. The flavor, it's very subtle in its changes. Until we went together back to visit my family, and I was hanging out, and I was like, I'm a little peckish, right? Meaning I want a little something to eat, peckish. You don't want to eat a whole meal. Just a little light snack, nothing too heavy.
You want to munch on something.
Yeah, you want just a little something. And I saw a bunch of bananas, and I said, perfect, I'll have a banana. That's perfect. And I grabbed the banana, I peel the banana, I start eating it. And I'm like, what in the world am I? What is this? This is not
Wax.
a banana.
This is cardboard.
It was it's too mushy. It doesn't have enough of the... And that's when I realized that my life with bananas was changed forever.
That's true.
And it would never be the same. And that I could never, again, eat a banana with joy in the U.S. because Brazilian bananas are so much better.
That's true. They are. All right, let's wrap it up. So, I'm going to finish with probably one of my favorite desserts of all time, which is the New York style cheesecake. Not any cheesecake, because you can find cheesecake in Brazil and people like it, and I like them. They're not horrible. most of them are pretty bad, but there are some that are pretty respectable. But the first time I had it was with her on my birthday. She actually bought the whole thing, the whole pie, right?
It wasn't that big though. It was like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my imagination, it was like this. Anyway,
I mean, but it's a heavy thing, so.
Yeah. And it was truly life-changing because there were new flavors and new textures. You don't expect that at the age of 25, 26, right? Completely new flavors. It's hard to find. So, yeah. It was an 8 slicer, I think, or 6 slices. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pieces because it was kind of tall. And I thought, I'm going to save myself a few pieces for tomorrow, right? I couldn't. I had the entire thing in one sitting. Yeah.
Did you tell
by
him what
myself.
it is yet?
Yes.
Oh.
New York style cheesecake. It's a cheesecake. It was a beautiful, I want to say raspberry cheesecake.
No, it was just plain cheesecake.
Plain cheesecake?
You don't mess with it straight up when you never had it before. You just go for so you can see the quality of it.
Okay. Serious business.
Serious business. I took him, let me clarify. I took him to an old neighborhood that I used to live in, Queens, okay, that had a bakery that was owned by an Italian immigrant family and had been open for
Decades.
Since the 40s or something like that. And I said, okay, if you want to try cheesecake for the New York style cheesecake for the first time, this is one of 2 places that you can legitimately experience what it is supposed to be.
And it was intense, to say the least. All right. So, you want to share one more?
Well, I'm kind of sad because my one more would be negative, right? Because we've been sort of going positive, negative, and
That's
I feel
true.
bad ending negative on Brazil. but I'll leave it with a silver lining. How's that? Okay. Ooh, a silver lining.
Okay. The whole expression, I believe, is every cloud has a silver lining.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
What does it mean, Raquel?
It means a silver lining is something good in the middle of the bad, right? So the cloud, which is usually dark and it brings us a storm or some kind of rainy weather. But then the silver lining is something beautiful and something precious and valuable that you see. And the expression is that in everything bad, you can find something good and pretty. So I'm going to add that little silver lining to this story because I don't like ending on a bad note. In the States, these restaurants exist, but the reason why it doesn't fall into the class of the other 2 experiences I had is because I feel like they are a little bit Americanized. They have items that appeal to the American palate and stuff. So I just didn't feel like it was really authentic. So I'm going to talk about Brazilian barbecue. And the first time I had it here in Brazil. And Daniel took me to a place that had a reputation for being a really good, high quality place. I'm not going to name it. And we went there and we were very excited. Okay, it's our first time going to a fancier restaurant together. We're going to have this Brazilian barbecue. I'm excited because, my dad's a butcher. And so I like good meat. I appreciate good meat. And we sit down, we start eating. And I'm like, this isn't so good. It's not that it's bad quality meat, but I just thought it was very salty. And at some point, I was afraid to say anything because I had just come here. We were new in our relationship. And I didn't want to offend. And I didn't want to seem like I was being judgmental. And I was just, slowed down my intake a little bit and was sipping a lot of water and thinking, my gosh, I'm going to have to, find other things because this meat is very salty. If this is what they think, if this is what is really good, then I'm going to have to, try to avoid coming here very often. And then I think as we were leaving, you mentioned it very lightly, It was a little salty though, wasn't it? And I was like, oh my God, thank God you said that. Yeah. I was like, it's so salty. I was like, no. And in general, Brazilians tend to have a very salt-heavy palate. So I found this over the years that many places are too salty for me. But, silver lining, later in our relationship, we went to another place that
came highly recommended.
That your family had been going to for many years.
Not the place, but okay.
Okay,
right, I see.
And we went, and I went with his family. We were celebrating
God.
something.
I knew this podcast was gonna wreck me. I'm already salivating here. Okay.
No, and then I felt like, okay, Brazil has redeemed itself because it was quality meat and it was perfectly seasoned. It wasn't too salty. It was flavorful. They had various different ways that they prepared it. Almost everything I tasted was really good. And I was like, okay. Whew. So, yeah, there's that experience. So a lot of the food is very salty here, but you can find ones that don't use that.
All right. It has been torturous.
We're super hungry now.
Yes,
So now we're going to go eat.
I'm going to make myself a bucket of popcorn.
Ooh, popcorn.
And we will see you guys next Tuesday night.
And if you want to learn more about us, about Button English, about how to learn with us, make sure you go down into our description. We have a link to our page as well as a link to our Instagram page that we're always posting content. So don't miss out. Don't let your curiosity be unsatisfied. It's there. Go there and find out more.
You'll find links for our Facebook page, our Instagram account, and for the invitation, right?
Right? Our landing page,
yes.
Our general page, and our Instagram. I'll put the Facebook on there too.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.
See ya.